I am not really bearish, to be honest with you guys. And this isn't because I'm a perma bull or anything like that. It's because right now we have some hidden bullish divergence taking place on ADA for multiple time frames, both short term and long term. And that usually signifies that we could have a bounce from here. Hopefully the news stays conducive for us to get this bounce. But I also found something very curious for ADA, and that is that it is still following what it did last market cycle. And this is going to surprise a lot of people. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. It's been growing like crazy, and it's all because of you guys. So I will say, yes, price has been red. It's been bearish. It seems like we've just been, again, getting beat up the last, 8-10 days, whatever it might be. And it sucks. I'm ready for things to move up, and I hope, and I'm sure you guys are here as well. And what I found for ADA is, in looking at this, one, we're again very heavily oversold on the stochastic RSI, on the RSI in general, and this led me to take a look at price on a deeper level. And what we're seeing right now is actually some hidden bullish divergence that is playing out currently. You guys can see the price bottoms are on the rise, while the RSI bottoms are in fact on the drop. That is textbook hidden bullish divergence. But let's take a look at this on a longer time frame for ADA. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. And what are we seeing here? The exact same thing playing out. All right, we are seeing the bottoms rise in terms of price, and we are seeing the bottoms drop in terms of RSI, hidden bullish divergence. That is a great sign for a rally ahead for ADA. For anybody that does TA, I know what I'm talking about here. Again, coming down to some technical levels, right? We're hitting that 200-week moving average. That's a great spot for ADA to bounce. We're very close to these technical bottoms. I mean, in fact, if we take a look at something like, obviously we looked at this swing low, but we look at something like back here, really before price got ripping. I mean, we're sitting at that 236. We're in, frankly, a great spot right now. And what I will say here is that I'm not trying to get overly bullish. Understand that. I'm not trying to put a positive spin on things. I obviously understand that the macro has not been great. Obviously, war is not great for price, or U.S. involvement in wars is not great for price. But there are some technical things that are good here. In fact, what I wanted to point to here as well is, yesterday didn't really phase ADA holders for the most part. In fact, this week has just continued on this blistering pace of accumulation. Again, now it's officially the largest week we have seen since March 2nd. And this might end up being one of the larger weeks we've seen here in 2025 in terms of removal of supply from exchanges. That's a pretty big deal. But what I really want to focus on is how similar this is to last market cycle. So here is the ADA dominance chart, and I'm not going to remove my stuff because we're still talking about this per se, right? But what I found very interesting to this is the exact formation we were seeing last market cycle to a T. In fact, guys, take a look at this. This is going to surprise a lot of people here. When we're looking at this retracement and prepping for this third retest here, this is exactly what we were doing last market cycle. This is our drop. This is that extension down that led to ADA's massive rally in terms of dominance, bringing us to what would be a cycle high in terms of dominance in the crypto market. Am I saying that this has to play out perfectly or has to happen for sure? No, but there are some striking similarities. Yes, the news is different. Yes, the macro is different. The players are different. But again, you can't help but notice some striking similarities. Sentiment, very similar to bottoms that we've seen in the past, right before we've gone on some nice price rallies. That is why I frankly wouldn't be surprised by some sort of relief bounce. And it's a question of, isn't it an extended bounce? Is it something where, maybe we get a little spike here in terms of ADA dominance and then we drop back down, right? And there are questions about this. And then we get to the later part of June, maybe we take another small leg or something like that. You could see right now, obviously that altcoin sentiment is very pessimistic. There's a lot of people that are questioning their conviction, and they're way too emotionally involved in their assets. And that puts things at pause for a moment. But if we don't get this cascade of negative news again, and things just kind of chill out in the crypto market, you can see altcoin confidence return. You could get a little bit of a wick back down in terms of BTC dominance. You could see ADA dominance once again rise here in the crypto market. There's ways that these things play out, right? And again, I want to go back to even that ETH BTC chart we talked about earlier today. Again, that even shows if we follow what we did last cycle, could be a little bit of a relief bounce here a relief bounce ahead here. And again, because of this removal of supply and hoarding of ADA, ADA could kind of decorrelate and do its own thing like we've seen several times before. I'm not saying this has to happen for sure, but understand that, you know, we're still seeing some bullish stuff in terms of ADA. It is not all doom and gloom. You don't have to be negative. You don't have to get emotionally invested in your assets, but just pay attention to some of this stuff. This stuff is present, could be invalidated. If you see ADA set a new low in terms of price here compared to all the way back on April 7th, then guys, structure's invalidated there then. Wouldn't necessarily be invalidated from an overall standpoint because we'd still have it on the weekly, but just don't get sucked into the negativity. Don't fall for sentiment. There are things that you need to be looking for. And guys, there are still a lot of positive things for ADA. Just saying. So appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.